All right, thank you very much, guys. That was the first Pandemic Legion match of this tournament. Remember that if you want to follow the tournament, we have all of the competition threads up on the EVE Online forums under the Alliance tournament. We're giving away everything from time codes to laptops to things that are simply invisible. There's also a question thread, so if you have a question that you want answered on the air, go there and check it out. Pandemic Legion won.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with a very boring team, not a crowd pleaser. Don't
So
like your Pandemic. Yeah, really disappointing.
It was an efficient team, though. It was a good setup.
It was an excellent setup, and Usher Khan was not really prepared to deal with all the ECM. As we heard the illustrious Kill 2 talking about in there, they didn't appear to have ECM. They had a spread of different sensor types on their different racial ships, so it was easy for Pandemic Legion to put a racial jammer on each ship, and they just got completely crushed.
Shadu, so you see the two teams, and usually you'll be able to identify kind of what they're doing right off the bat. You see the PL team, you see a heavy ECM team that looks like a really, really solid, unspectacular setup that just gets stuff done. You look at the other side of the screen, there's a Sacrilege, there's a Fleet Issue Typhoon, there's a single Ishkur. What were Ushura Khan trying to do?
I cannot answer that
I'm
question.
asking because I simply have no clue.
No idea. No idea. That was a little bit strange setup. Then again, would it have mattered if they had a better team there? Probably not. That's our most boring setup ever, and it being fielded so early.
Even he says so. Yeah, and when Chadu says so, that's pretty much the final word. I think this is one of the times where metagaming is probably could make the biggest decider when it's an ECM setup, because it's so easily countered if you know it's coming up just by putting ECCM on and using certain other ships with high sensor strength, command ships, etc. But Pandemic has a lot of different very effective teams, so it can be very hard to guess what they're doing.
We saw the Kitsunes. I just looked at ship statistics for TQ, and the electronic warfare frigates, I think, are the least utilized ship type in the game. We see them a lot in the Alliance tournament. What's so good about the Kitsunes when you're in a tournament?
They lock fast, and they can jam out the opposition's rogue. So if you have two ECM teams, for example, facing each other, the Kitsunes, who's going to get a lock, is going to be the decider there. You don't see them so much on TQ because ECM isn't as effective when it gets a larger size of combat, except if you're Goon Swarm with your 30 Scorpions. With smart bombs and newts.
You've seen the new Scorpion model, haven't you? Setups. How could you not fly a Scorpion with that model?
That's true. It's also low points, and nobody really trains for those. I think in BL we only have 12 guys who are fully spec'd up on those frigates. So yeah.
I don't want to promise anything, but I do believe that Team PFF are going to be looking at electronic warfare frigates this winter. If you've been following some of the ship balancing we're starting to do, I think that Tallest has posted a Dramiel change. I think he's posted a change to logistic ships. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a change to EW frigates this winter and supercaps.
Well, EWAR has been slowly nerfed over the years. Every single form of EWAR at some point or another has taken a different hit, and EWAR frigs being so much more vulnerable than the other EWAR ships, I think it's going to be difficult to balance them. So best of luck with them.
Well, I mean, it's one of those ships where you should start by looking at the price tag. I mean, is it really enough value to bring it into a fleet fight?
Currently, no.
No. What is it? Are they 20 million or something ridiculous for what they bring? Like, why not bring a T1 cruiser?
Why not bring an interdictor?
Yes.
Anything, really.
Bring a Drake.
Yeah, Drake.
Bring a Drake. Bring a Drake. Anyway, let's grab a few questions off the forums. From Sin Leia. Do you expect any Black Op hulls in this stage of the tournament? If so, what hulls?
I don't expect any, so I don't know what hulls I would see. I don't think they're that effective for the tournament situation.
No, I don't think so.
Is it too much of a role-specific ship, and that role not being combat?
That role not being the Alliance tournament style of warfare. Yeah, they're very good in 0-0, dropping stealth bombers on people and whatnot, but in the Alliance tournament, I just don't think they're a good ship role for this kind of thing.
Yeah, on TQ you pretty much just use them to bridge with all cargo expanders in your low, so it doesn't really get used in combat on TQ either. Maybe that should be your focus.
Maybe those two. Maybe they are probably on the list as well. So unless we have an alliance tournament about bridging, we're probably not going to see them.
Yeah.
All right. Tassim Matar asks, do you think there's a place for dual propulsion setups in the alliance tournament? And if so, what kind of ships?
Dramiel should and could be dual propulsion. I mean, if you're, I think if you're running a rush team where you have to catch up to the other guy, in dual propulsion might make sense that you can catch up and put your scrambler or web on, and then swap on your afterburner and lower your sig so that they can't kill you.
I think we've actually, you said on the Dramiel, and I think a few of the Dramiels we saw in the qualifying weekends were dual propulsion. Anyway, let's have a look at our sometimes accurate stats. Let's get them up on screen for the next two. It's unaffiliated versus Hydra.
Once again, we have a logo issue here.
Are we still 100% losses for non-logo?
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
Yes, we are.
Hydra Reloaded, that is Kill 2's Alliance. That's his guys. Let's see what else. And they came in, of course, there's no stats on the right for once. That is because they got in from being second in last year's Alliance tournament. Unaffiliated, fought 2 matches, drew 1 and won 1. Okay, that's a pretty good setup. Hydra Reloaded, the second place team from last year. Who do you think is going to win?
Hey, Kill 2, a.k.a. Turbo Dinosaur. Get your boys on that logo thing. I think that Hydra may be the first team now to turn around the non-logo team's 0% record. So I'm going to go with Hydra Reloaded on this one.
I think I'm going to have to agree. I think it's going to be Hydra Reloaded. However, if they underestimate unaffiliated in any way and bring some kind of not their best setup, I think they're going to lose. So we might see a surprise here.
All right.
I like the name unaffiliated, and they both, are rooting for Hydra, so I'm just
also have a
going to
logo.
say unaffiliated.
All right, I'm going with Hydra. They are a pretty magnificent team, or at least were last year. Talking about going from year to year, how big a chance is there that a team you watch one year is going to come back and be completely changed? Like, is the alliance structure too dynamic in terms of having something where you're seeing like the permanent success that PL have, for example? Could it be someone completely different organizing the teams every year and just people turning to?
A year is a long time in a game cycle, and a lot of players could either no longer be playing or moved on to greener pastures like Goonswarm or something in that amount of time. So I don't think just because somebody had past success is really any good indication of what they're going to do in the future.
I'd say the teams, though, or the team captains at least, are typically the same, and that's the true, I think, for most of these teams as well. So while you go inactive, typically those people do come back just for the tournament. That's at least the case in our alliance.
Yeah. And I mean, some of the teams go away. Mercenary Coalition, vanished into Goonswarm and PL. Mm-hmm. Might see some of those old Mercenary Coalition pilots under your flags.
Or it could send them fleeing our stage of shame.
We could also do that. So, if you've been organizing it this long, you've never actually flown in an alliance tournament then?
No, just as a exhibition fight.
All right.
Which I lost like miserably.
I think we all saw that coming.
One of the devs versus players fights.
Yeah, no, it was like I think it was like customer support versus developers.
All right.
Yeah.
Who won?
Developers, I think. It was something like I can't really remember.
The last time I competed in anything was FanFest 2 years ago, and it was a devs versus players match.
Oh yeah, I was in that too. And
Yeah.
did we lose?
We lost in about 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Primarily, probably because I didn't bring ammo. So I jumped in, pressed button, and there was nothing. I checked my cargo hold, nothing. And then I just stood up, grabbed my beer, and just walked off.
That's a common problem with former Goonswarm players. Sometimes we don't even know if our guns have ammo. Well, you also never know what's going to happen at FanFest tournaments. If you are paying attention to this past year's tournament, Pandemic Legion came in 3rd place at this year's FanFest in a very shameful display.
All right. It's about time. It's unaffiliated versus Hydra. I have my money on Hydra.
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 Unaffiliated.
Alrighty, let's see.